Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about a brand new topic and about recent news. So a few days ago I saw a series of image collections showing how certain areas have been covered by trees and a few years ago and how they are now completely cleaned up and how data centers are built in their place. So even on my personal channels, this topic became quite viral, and there were more than 100 comments about how problematic the environmental impact of data centers is. However, it turns out that there is more to the story. Also, some of the comments pointed out that probably the images in this collection were not taken at the same time, meaning that, for example, the tree cover was captured in springtime, while the data center image was maybe captured during wintertime. Also, while this image certainly looks that there were trees cut down for the data center, it's also a good question whether this is any significantly different than if they were just building a regular industrial site, or maybe even the total volume is not comparable to large-scale deforestation, for example, to plant palm oil trees. So there were many questions, and I'm totally sure that the environmental impact from energy consumption to heat and water is huge when it comes to data centers, but here I wanted to dive deeper and not just have a feeling about it, but also build a model and use data to quantify what we are seeing here. And the full paper will be on the archive very soon, and for now I would like to show you the first and core part of my analysis. So my plan here was to use Sentinel data, historical Sentinel data, to capture the level of vegetation change in these areas. For that, I used an earlier dataset containing about 1,000 different data center sites, from which I picked the largest ones. There was about 42 above a certain threshold. You will find the details in the paper. And I manually hunted down the footprints and drew the polygons for every single site to be able to query satellite data from Sentinel to cover these areas and their surroundings. So the usual setup parts, I was using Pandas, Python, Raster.io as usual, and PyStack to query Sentinel data stored on AWS. So here the first example, and this will be covered in this notebook and the rest I run separately, was the Meta Hyperion data center, which is in LA County. I set up a few things to get things running. Also here I parsed the footprint, which we can have a quick look actually. So the footprints dictionary is here, and let's see how the Hyperion looks like. It's a polygon, so yeah, this is what I've drawn manually. And yeah, this is more or less how it looks like, and you will see on the maps below that this is actually quite a sensible shape for it. So it turned out that if we just query one specific satellite scene, then there will be holes in the image, for example the one here. So what I did is that I built a logic which will first take the peak month, so the greenest month of that target area where this footprint can be found. Then I downloaded a whole bunch of satellite scenes from this target area, which is around our target data center, which is somewhere here, and I was covering a band of around 20 kilometers around the target footprint, and then I was layering these different NDVI images on top of it to make sure that we are covering every single patch, whether it's missing from a scene completely or whether just clouds are covering that part. So after running this logic, I ended up for every single year, for every single data center site, a composite image like this one here for July 2023, where July seemed to be the greenest, so the peak vegetation time for the Hyperion data center. It's somewhere here. It wasn't there in 2023. It was, as turns out, almost entirely farmland back in the day with these rectangular farms, but here also there is a circular farm. So this was already hinting that the forest coverage, as sad and outrageous it is that forests are being cut down for AI, might not be the only location where these data centers were built. Then once I had the logic to build one composite, I built that for every single year. So here you can already see the full annual change of the vegetation level. So again, this is not forests yet, it's just vegetation, so agriculture is included as well. Here you can see that, for example, 2020 was quite a dry year. Maybe they were planting different crops, or maybe there was not enough rain in that year, while 2017 was quite green and 2023 was quite green as well. And here in the middle there is this blue rectangular shape, which is actually the footprint, today's footprint of the data center. As you can see here, there is nothing of irregular there from 2017 to 2023, and the constructions begin in 2024, and by 2025 it has changed completely and it became completely red, which means that whatever vegetation was there completely vanished. So if you want to have a closer look, we can have a look at the before-after image. We can also zoom in. It's very clearly visible that some things have happened to the vegetation for sure. It got cleared up and it got built in. But we can also know that here this circular form also has changed. So something is happening here. For now, we can just take a note that NDVI is signaling certain very clear changes at and around the sites. Then what I did is I computed zonal stats, so the overall change of NDVI in the footprint area and in its surroundings, and computed a few versions of that. For example, here the first one is the NDVI zone by zone, so at the footprint and various buffered ranges or areas around the footprint, marking the construction. So here you can see that the NDVI, mean NDVI fluctuates around the same 0.6, 0.7 value across the entire scene in the about 20 kilometer surroundings of the footprint. However, there is a very significant clean drop when the construction starts. So this is a signal we are looking for. We can also compare this signal of the footprint to the rest, to the surroundings, which is showing the same thing, which tells us that indeed there is a huge drop in the vegetation. And then the question came that, okay, what kind of vegetation was it? Was it forests, which would be very unfortunate, or was it something else? And that was the part when I looked for another dataset called NLCD, which is the Natural Land Cover dataset published probably every year by the United States. I wanted to see if we can match these changes to actual land use, so I went for an earlier snapshot of the NLCD database and then I quantified the typical share of various land cover types at the footprint level. And here you can see a comparison. On the right, the Hyperion data center, and on the left, another one from Meta called Enrico. So what you can see here is that for Hyperion, actually it was all crops. Essentially all crops and some woody wetland. But actually where the data center was built, there isn't really any wood. So here you can see the percentage split as well. 90% of that was crops, and there were some lowly developed lands as well, and 3% of woody wetland. However, for example, when it comes to the Enrico data center, then you can see that it's actually mostly forests, which is now problematic. So this already outlines that the picture is much more nuanced than they just chop down trees and forests to build data centers, because here it was just an agricultural land. In fact, if you have a closer look at the Enrico data center, you will see that here this is the footprint, and there were some buildings around it already. So some companies started the deforestation and building there already. So this is probably some industrial site which was designated by local zoning regulations to be a new industrial park. And then as it keeps growing, as you can see here, Enrico appears, and then more and more buildings appear within the Enrico site. But especially in the last few years, there are many others around it. So here, it's true that it was forests, but it's also true that this seems to be a rising industrial site or group of sites where data centers seem to be just one of the tenants or the projects being built. This also supports the suspicion many of you raised in the comments that, okay, it's for sure that data centers are not great for the environment. However, here we also have to be mindful of the fact that these might actually be just regular industrial constructions. And if I do this analysis and get these statistical numbers like evergreen forest 83% for Enrico, and do it for all the 42 selected largest sites, so these are selected, a small sample, but the largest ones, then we will arrive to this graph, which is very interesting to see. So this says that the majority of these sites were built on former cropland, and then in a very close near-tie ratio also in developed areas. This also raises many questions because as I was checking them manually on Google Maps, turns out that there are actually many data centers extremely close to suburban residential areas, which is probably even worse than building them where there were trees before. However, this also contains and covers, for example, industrial parks. So it's not that easy to pinpoint what has happened here. However, I believe that this short exploration highlights that geospatial data science has the power to actually quantify the impact of these data centers. And here you will see in the full paper that this is absolutely feasible with today's open data and technology. And here I would also like to add that this would be very interesting to move forward and track down not just the largest 40, but probably all the data centers, where I have found a tricky part part, for example, by finding the right footprints, because they are not really more than OpenStreetMap, so I had to find them manually and draw the polygons manually. And then it would probably also useful to add a wide selection of reference buildings which are industrial, which are in the same area, but not data centers. And then also adding various layers, such as, for example, the proximity of residential units. So that was it for this short commentary to this recent news. And if you want to see the full paper, make sure to sign up to my Substack because it will be featured there, hopefully in about a week. Thanks for watching and following this through, and see you next time.